Hi, my name's Alcina. I'm one of the librarians at Kingston, and the book that I've chosen to highlight is Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. Now, what attracted me to this book in the first place was I saw Hannah Kent being interviewed on Australian Story, and how basically she spoke about being in Iceland as a student and being attracted herself to the story of Agnes and being the last woman who was executed in Iceland. She did a lot of research and got a lot of information about Agnes, and it led to her being obsessed and writing this book. Now, the book's set in 1828, I think it was 1829, so it's really, really early on, about 200 years ago. It's quite a dark book. It is about a woman who's basically been convicted of murder and has been sentenced to death, and she is awaiting her the sentence to be carried out. So in the meantime, she gets to spend time on a farm with a family, and slowly you start to hear her story, particularly with Totti, who's one of the characters, who is a young priest, and he's sent to try and console her or to get her confession. So a lot of the story is seen through different characters and is told through different characters. I find that with this particular one, I am very funny with names, and I actually end up listening to it on audiobook, which is also available through BorrowBox, because the lady who did the narration was fantastic and ended up pronouncing all the names perfectly, so it made it a lot easier for me to get my head around the names. I've spoken to other people about it. They found it was quite dark and quite depressing. I felt that the actual Icelandic, it's set in, going to an Icelandic winter, and as you can imagine, an Icelandic winter in the 1800s would have been a very, very dark and cold existence. No electricity, no lights, little tiny houses, winter, and probably a good month worth of darkness. So the book kind of reflects that, and it is quite dark, but it's also really intriguing to find out what happened to her. And obviously she was executed, so you already know what's going to happen at the end, so it's all building towards her story, finding out her story, and towards the execution. I recommend it. It's Hannah Kent's first book, so this is the first one that she wrote. And yeah, I think it's definitely worth a read, and will be available on BorrowBox in electronic version. The library's got it, as well as getting it on audiobook, so I recommend the audiobook.